free to interrupt. Raise your hand, whatever, because you're going to have questions that are very particular based on what you want to do after school. Let me share my little presentation here. Boom. Okay. You can all see chapter 17 here, slide, I hope. All right, cool. All right. You guys are going to have some neat choices to make when you're out of school, and they're a little bit different for massage therapists than they are for a lot of other careers. For example, massage therapists don't have to just pick one thing. Many massage therapists work at multiple locations. Many massage therapists kind of have a side business, right? A side massage business where they go to people's homes or they rent a studio for a day or two, and then those same therapists often work for an employer as well. So you don't necessarily have to decide, like when you get out of school, like I'm going to have a business, or I'm only going to work for somebody else, or I'm only going to do my own thing. You can even blend those choices. And many massage therapists have done multiple of those things. Like I used to have a home massage business. I would go to people's houses, but I'd also try to encourage them to come to my house, and that's all I did for a couple of years. And I have worked then for places for many years too, where I wasn't seeing any home clients, and I've done a mixture of those things too. So we're going to talk about all those kind of options today. And some things to know about. So the number one reason that businesses fail, if you're deciding to start a massage business, is incompetence. And that doesn't mean stupidity. Incompetence is usually not being competent to handle the business task ahead. So this is one of the reasons you might want to work for somebody else, because they will teach you without knowing it how to run a business. So one of the best jobs I ever had in my life, from learning about business point of view, was working for Domino's Pizza when I was 16 years old. I was a delivery driver for them. And it was a great business. Back then, Domino's Pizza did one thing. They didn't bring sodas. They didn't bring anything. They brought pizzas. That was it. That's all we did. And at the end of the night, it was a total cash business. At the end of the night, my manager would sit down and I'd watch the paperwork he'd fill out. And he would fill out costs for lights, for employees, for pepperonis, for everything, and the money he brought in. And we'd look at the profit and loss each day together. And I learned a lot about just how you run a basic business, because every day we were running the most basic business ever. We take pizzas, right? We buy some dough and we buy some pepperonis and we buy some cheese and we take pizzas and we pay drivers to take them to people's houses. And it was a very, very neat way to kind of see the inputs and outputs of a business firsthand. And I probably learned more from that job than any other in some ways. Miss Monreal?
Did he do that just with you, or do that with employees as a part of the job?
He did it just with me. Not. This is terrible. He did it. Oh man. Okay, so he did it just with me because I would pick up his beer every night. So my first boss was a really nice guy, by the way, but he was probably a horrible drunk. And I would pick up 2 6-packs of beer for him every night, and that's what he'd drink at night at the office while doing his closing paperwork. That was just that at night. And I was underaged, but I could go get him beer because everybody in that part of town knew Domino's, and he gave free pizzas also to all the police officers. And so when we get pulled over for speeding, they would literally be like, "Oh, you're one of Ken's kids," and they'd let us go. I mean, he paid off the system. But I could go to the drive-up liquor store and say, I was 16. I'm getting liquor from my boss, Ken. They'd be like, "Oh, it's Ken, sure, here." And they'd sell it to me. So this is a long time ago. But anyway, and so I'd sit down and listen to him and do the paperwork with him at the end of the night. It was just kind of our routine. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's kind of fun. He should have done that. He should have been grooming somebody that way to kind of move up the management ladder. But yeah, it was a good job. Anyway, good old Ken. So that's one of the advantages to working like at a Massage Envy or an Elements or a Hand and Stone is these places have not only been successful once, they've been successful about 1,000 times. And you will learn a lot just working for them about how they manage their money, how they bring, where they really make their money, how they bring clients in, how they retain clients, how they duplicate those efforts, which is one of the hardest things to do ever. And so I encourage you actually to look into things like that and to pay attention when you're working at some place, right? Okay. Another big reason, by the way, for business failure is just not putting enough effort in. So this is a word of caution. I'm not suggesting you shouldn't start a massage business. They're actually one of the easiest businesses to start, and many of you will successfully. But just be ready for it to be a lot of work. A lot of people want to be their own boss. That's why they want to be employed. I did that. I was like, I'm my own boss. Yep, I was my own boss. And I did everything. Yeah, I didn't have a lot of employees, right? So I ended up doing everything. And yeah, you get to set your hours, but really still the clients still set the hours. You need the clients. So really the clients are your boss. And so I found out years later that working for a place wasn't all that bad, because one of the nice things about it was when I went home at night, I left the work behind me. So this is not in favor of either one. I'm just telling you, if you want to run your own place because you want it easier, that's not going to happen. Now, if you want to run your own place because you want creative control and you really like that oversight, you're hoping one day to duplicate it and it really could make some money, those are great reasons. But in the beginning, it is more work to run your own business than it is to be employed, by far. By far. And the problems are all yours. Your book just wants to remind you the purpose of the massage license. Your massage license is your professional license, and the real goal of the massage board here in Arizona is to keep the public safe. That's what massage licenses do. They're meant to protect the public. Really what we've been teaching you here, hopefully, is how to be a better massage therapist, but how to be really good to people and be safe with them. Your knowledge of anatomy actually helps you not hurt people. That's one of the main reasons we teach it to you. By the way, Ms. Monreal, you just have your hand still up, or do you have a question? No. Yes? No. Maybe.
No, sorry.
Okay. I just don't want to ignore you. If you start your own business, you might want to get liability insurance. Some people call it malpractice insurance. It is not very expensive for massage therapists. Many of you got it for free before your externship. You probably got a multiple $1-million policy for free. And I would recommend you keep doing that. And again, it's not even that you necessarily would do something. The fear is that somebody would think you did something. And malpractice insurance helps back that up. And malpractice insurance for professional massage therapists runs $100 to $200 a year. It's usually a very good idea for $10 million worth of coverage. Yeah, can somebody send Ms. Cooper a link if she knows? Anyway. Something else you might want to think about if you are self-employed, or if they offer it to you through your employer, is disability insurance. So that is insurance that will pay you at least partial wages if you become disabled. Now, that is a very confusing statement, because usually when I say this to people, they assume I mean disabled for life, which I guess could happen, but that's not what we mean. When you see the statistic down here below that says Social Security Administration projects that 25%, a quarter of today's 20-year-olds will be disabled before they reach 67, they don't mean permanently disabled, they mean temporarily disabled. So you guys break your wrist on a snowboarding trip, that'll disable you from massage, right? It won't be permanent, you'll be able to do it again. But while your wrist is healing for 8 weeks, you'll be disabled. And so disability insurance will cover you from that sort of thing. And usually the rule of thumb is, If you don't have other supplemental income, you probably should get disability insurance. Let me give you an example of other supplemental income. I'm sorry, but it's very convenient. Miss Hanson is married, and if her husband can support their family fully without her working, then they don't really need disability insurance for her, right? Because she can take off 8 weeks if she had to. But if you don't have that kind of supplemental income coming into your life, then you can't make those choices. If you are the sole provider, you want disability insurance because you can't afford not to have income coming in for a period of time. A lot of massage places will offer you disability insurance too. I also encourage you guys to look for needles in a haystack when it comes to massage employment. I sincerely don't think there's anything wrong with massage MV elements, depending on the location, by the way. Some locations stink, right? But depending on the location, in general, I don't think there's anything wrong with these places at all. And they can be great careers, and I know people who worked at certain locations for 6-7 years straight. But you also might want to go out there and do some research on your own. There are mom and pop day spas all over the valley that there's just one of, run by a single person. If you really like that person, sometimes their pay is really good. Sometimes they've just lost somebody. Those can be really sweet jobs. Or I had a student who, at her apartment complex, the apartment complex said, we want to offer a massage here so we can say we're an upscale apartment complex, which they kind of were, but they wanted to offer it on site. So she made a deal with them that they gave her a room and she offered massage. She didn't have to pay them anything. So she got to be the resident massage therapist at a very large apartment complex, and she paid no rent because the apartment complex wanted to be able to say that they offered massage. That's a sweet deal. That's a free rent. Her commute to work was 37 seconds. She'd walk down the stairs into the massage room, do massages on clients, charge them whatever she wanted to. She just had to be available and pay no rent. So keep your eye out for sweet deals. They are, that's a good one. But they're out there. They really are. They really are. So it's nice sometimes being a big fish in a small pond. Sometimes it really is. Yeah. Sometimes it's even nicer. Full-time is technically 38 hours a week. That's just a little statistic, or higher. Although most massage places view 32 hours a week. Although your book doesn't recognize that, but most massage places view 32 hours a week full-time for massage. Roughly like 5-6.5 hour shifts. That's what they usually view, because that's a pretty full load for a massage therapist. If you're doing 6 massages a day, 5 days a week, you're full in my book. Like, that's a lot. That's a lot to maintain. You can do it, but it's a lot. Actually, the vast majority of massage therapists are commission-based on contract. They're actually not employees. So that's not true at Massage Envy or Elements or Hand and Stone or the resorts, but a lot of other places hire massage therapists on contract, which means you're not an employee of theirs. But if a place has you wear a uniform and it sets hours for you and tells you when you have to be there, that place is an employer and you no longer should just be on contract. You should be an employee of that place. That's the big determinant that the IRS uses when it's trying to figure out if somebody is an employee or on contract. And if your employer is telling you when you have to be there, that you have to wear a uniform, they're setting your schedule, you're no longer a contractor. A contractor gets to do the job when they want to do the job. So that's a big difference, just so you know. And why would you want to be an employee as opposed to an independent contractor? I mean, independent contractor is great if they're paying you enough. But you might want to be an employee, sorry, I had a camera issue, because they pay part of your employment taxes. Otherwise, if you're an independent contractor, you have to pay self-employment taxes. So you are paying for your own side of Medicare and Social Security. In my situation here at Gateway, I'm an employee. They pay half my Social Security and half my Medicare. I pay the other half. That's a very typical employee setup. But if I was just on contract here, I would have to pay all that. And so there's more taxes coming out when you are self-employed. And I want to warn you, there are more taxes coming out when you are self-employed. So that's one of the things you charge for to make up for those taxes that are coming out. This is why, by the way, independent contractors often get paid $50 an hour. Because they have to cover all those expenses. Whereas an employee, all of a sudden, they drop down your wages. Because the employer is picking up some of those expenses. By the way, just so you know, for an when an employer hires you, whatever you're seeing kind of on your paycheck, whatever they're paying you, the employer is usually, if they're offering you benefits, is usually paying about 50% above that to keep you employed. Depending on how good the benefits package are. It could be even higher. So, if I make $40,000 a year, it really costs my employer $60,000 to have me. Because they're dumping another $20,000 in my health insurance, sick leave, all sorts of things like that. Yes, Ms. Monreal.
So how do you know what you should charge for your massages, for what you're going to have to pay for taxes?
Yeah.
How do you figure that out?
How do you figure that out?
Yeah.
Well, you can actually Google it, and there are tax calculators that will give you a really good idea. I'm just saying the first year be kind of prepared so that you're not, you just don't want to get to the end of the year and be like, I have to cough up all this money. Plus, by the way, there is a point where you have to pay quarterly taxes if you're self-employed, because the government requires to get its money up ahead of time, and you might have to file quarterly taxes, and there is a penalty for not filing quarterly taxes. I don't mean you're in trouble, you're not a criminal, but you will pay money for failure to file quarterly taxes, which is you go online and you can actually estimate what you owe and send them in to the government under your Social Security number, quarterly taxes. The other trick you can do, if you do work for like a Massage MD Elements, Hand and Stone, someplace like that, any place where you're an employee, is have them take a lot of taxes out of your check. Because the taxes they take out will cover your self-employment activities. And so that's what I used to do. If I worked some other place, I just had them take out like lots and lots of taxes. And that ended up being my quarterly payments, if that makes sense. But it's something you want to calculate if you're self-employed. Yeah, and not hard to do. And what you can do is you can go in there and say, look, I made $2,000 this month. And you can actually Google like what's going to be the self-employment tax on that and send it in. And you can even look up quarterly filings. And for those of you who've done your taxes already, I bet you had an offer on the online thing of, do you want to set up quarterly payments for taxes right when you were filing? Does that sound familiar, Ms. Jones? There was probably a question on the online filing, do you want to set up quarterly payments? And in the future, you'd be like, yeah, I do. I want to send you a few $100, based on my calculations. And you can adjust it later. Resumes. You will need resumes to get massage jobs. Keep them simple. Believe it or not, employers actually don't like big, long resumes. They should fit on one page. If you must do front and back, fine, but it should be one page. A resume is a short thing. A resume is a short thing. And what I'll tell you as a massage employer, what I love seeing on the resume is great attendance and customer service. I don't care about some special massage training you got. I don't care about any of that. We're gonna do a practical with you. We're gonna find out about your massage skills. I care that you're reliable and you're kind. And you can say that in your resume. But unlike other professions, they get to test out your skills. So you're going to list that you went to Gateway, but the really important thing is just that you get in there and do the practicals. So just make sure it's got good contact information, a really good opening statement, like I'm seeking a company that places a value on customer service. I'm ridiculously reliable, very coachable, and very friendly. I would hire that person today. You probably will never create a curriculum vitae, which is a very, very long resume, and it's not applicable to massage therapists at all. We see it sometimes in academics, and not for me, by the way. I don't have enough background. But I see it with some of my colleagues who have 2 master's degrees and a PhD and 13 bachelor's degrees, and they describe everything they've done and all the places they've worked, all the education they've gotten, and they have literally a long portfolio because they've been in the education business for 40 years. But we won't use it as a massage therapist. You'll stick with resumes. A very common type of massage interview is what's called sequential massage interviews. It's when you get multiple interviews from different people in the company. The way it usually works in massage therapy is usually you come in and quite often you meet the owner even. And the owner doesn't get a massage from you. The owner sits down and talks to you about the business, kind of gets a feel for you as a person, and then you go off and usually massage like the lead therapist. And that's called sequential interviewing, where you interview with multiple people in a company. And you will probably interview for a massage job that way. Although those of you that end up taking a job with the externships that you're doing, you probably won't have an interview basically at all. They will probably offer you a job and jump on it if you take it and start talking to you about training. I doubt they'll actually officially interview you because they're going to consider the externship the best interview they could have done. They've already been with you for a week or 2 weeks, as the case may be. Okay. Business types. Any questions so far? Okay. Business types. Most likely if you start a business, especially if it's just you, just Miss Stanley's portable massage company, she would be a sole proprietor, which means she's the only person who owns that business, and she's the only person liable for that business. And that's very, very, very common for massage therapists. If you opened your own place, you might enter into a partnership. I want to really caution you about going into a partnership unless you need to. Do not go in partnership with somebody who's your buddy. That's not a good reason to go into partnership. You join partnerships because you actually need the other person's financing and skills. So the partners in a partnership really should be like, oh, I'm having this person in partnership because they used to be an accountant and they can do all our business accounting and they've agreed to do that. I'm going into partnership because this person owns the building or is willing to put up the $10,000 we need for XYZ. But don't do it just because you guys are friends, because partnerships are actually very hard on relationships. Because people always feel like the other person should be working harder. If you do go into a partnership too, it's the one time I actually really recommend you get a legal document discussing things like division of labor, like what you guys are going to do, who's responsible for what, and a buyout plan. Almost always these partnerships end at some point and somebody needs the ability to buy somebody else out, and you might want to buy them out. Like the business might be worth something and you want to buy them out, so make sure there's a buyout plan in that thing. The other thing you can do is incorporate. Incorporating is not that expensive. $1,000 the most, usually $500. And it does kind of create a legal entity that kind of protects you. It depends on what's gone wrong. But the company ends up being who gets sued if there's problems. The problem with corporations, by the way, is you really do have to file corporate taxes. And so that's a whole other layer of taxes. I don't mean it's more expensive, but you have to file taxes. Most people who have corporations then use them to to help with their expenses too. So they try to buy a car underneath the corporation, all that kind of stuff. But it is more work. It's a lot of work for just a few out calls. But if you're starting a day spa, you might want to do it. Zoning. Be very careful of the zoning in your neighborhood if you're planning on doing massage out of your house. Your massage license allows it. Your massage license allows you to work out of your house, and your massage license allows you to go to other people's houses and do massage in them. That's legit. But zoning is a different thing. Zoning might say you're not allowed to run a business out of your house. Now, I will be very honest with you. If you are doing one massage a week out of your house, even if you're not zoned for it, I doubt anybody's ever going to figure that out. Right? And it's not like you're breaking a horrible law and going to go to jail. Somebody's going to slap you with a zoning fine. I don't even think they would. I think they'd tell you to stop is what they'd do. But if you're going to have 13 cars a day coming out of your house, that might be something you have to consider if you're not zoned in that area for that. That's why zoning comes into play. If you get a commercial establishment, you might want a general liability insurance. Remember I said that most people, the lawsuits I've seen aren't usually over the massage, they're over people slipping. That's true once you own a building. So that's what general liability insurance protects you from. Is people slipping and falling and, things happening that are out of your control. But they sue the company if it happens in your premise, right? One of the nice things you might want to consider, the book goes over startup costs, all this kind of stuff. But the nice thing about massage businesses is they can be modular. And what I mean by that is that you don't necessarily have to start a business with 12 rooms and 13 therapists working underneath you. You can start up a one-room massage place somewhere that has room to expand. And then if the business goes well, you can buy out some more space and hire some massage therapists to work underneath you and start to modularly expand it out. It's a really nice way to go. Because if you have a really hard time getting the business off the ground just for you, then you may not want to expand it on top of that. All right. Yes, Miss Petrie, talk to me.
Years ago, my parents had a regular massage therapist. Her name was Vanessa. Really great therapist. And actually, my first time around in school, she really helped me out too. She tutored me. Anyhow, she actually worked for my chiropractor. And then when he didn't work on the weekends, he'd give her the space.
Yeah.
So she can go in and have it for free and do as many massages as she wants on the weekends when he wasn't in business.
That's a sweet deal. What's really sweet about it too is, when do all your clients want massages? On the weekends. I mean, I hate to say that, everybody. I wish I could tell you that they want them Monday morning at 9 a.m., nice and convenient for you. But most of your clients are working then.
I mean, it's like even when we worked at the resort, it was
weekends.
Yeah, you'd have business throughout the week, but the weekends is when you were smashed.
Yeah.
You were just packed all day.
Yeah.
You're lucky if you had a lunch.
Yes, lucky if you had lunch. For many massage therapists, we make on Saturday and Sunday what can be made Monday through Friday. In those 2 days, we make what we could make on the other 5 days. And so for many people, it just becomes easier just to work Saturdays and Sundays and not work any other day even. That's a big moneymaker day. The other time that's really popular all week long is evenings. People love Thursday night massages and Wednesday night massages at 7 p.m. And unfortunately, you can usually only get one in, so you hope it's a 2-hour. But those are very popular. So nights and weekends, unfortunately, very, very popular. Yeah, very true. So again, on self-employment taxes, Right now, if you work for somebody, they pay half of your taxes and they take out all of them so that you don't have to worry about it. But if you're self-employed, all of a sudden you have to pay both sides of Medicare and Social Security. And so it's quite a bit, and you're paying it yourself. And so if you're not used to putting that money aside, that's why you have to file quarterly. Unless you're working for somebody, anybody, it doesn't even have to be a massage job. You're working for somebody, have them take out more taxes. It'll take care of your massage taxes. Just Google how many taxes you have to take out if you made whatever you think you're going to make that year in massage. 20 grand, 30 grand, 40 grand. And you'll be able to put that into calculate that over your paychecks, have that money come out, and not have to worry about quarterly filing. There's one way to do it. I recommend, by the way, that you all get a separate bank account if you're going to do self-employed, freelancey type stuff. The IRS does not require it, but they love to see it. And the nice thing about another bank account is that bank account becomes your massage bank account. All the money you make goes into it. All the supplies you buy come out of it. And then you write yourself a paycheck from it. So a little bit of a pain, but you write yourself a $1,000 paycheck from that account, and that goes into your personal account. And that way you've got an account that shows all the money you made and all the expenses you made in one place. It's very convenient, very easy to look at later if you ever have to kind of figure that out. Usually doesn't cost you anything to get another bank account at your bank, and it just becomes your massage bank account. Super helpful. There are all sorts of tax deductions you can get if you're running your own business. These may or may not be of value to you anymore. The individual, and I can't give you tax advice, right? But the deductions are pretty high now for people, and itemizing doesn't always pay off. But if you want to track the stuff, you can. You can write off part of your mileage. If you're traveling to clients' homes, you can write off all your business supplies, sheets, linens, laundry, oils. You can write off your continuing education. All that stuff. And if it is higher, if all these write-offs are higher than your standard deduction, then that's what you usually do is you take them. Whatever you do when it comes to tax purposes, keep all that stuff for 3 years. Any receipt that you're claiming, any tax forms, if you're writing off your mileage on your car, then you need to keep all the receipts from all the gas you've had for at least 3 years. That is standard practice. The IRS is allowed to come back and ask for that stuff 3 years later. So keep it at least that long. So Ms. Monreal was talking about charging people, and how do you figure out how much to charge for your massage? And there's a lot of different things to think about. And I don't have one right answer for you. But one of the things you can do is take all the money you make minus all of your expenses. So that might just be like your gas to drive to a place, and the oils and the lotions and the sheets and such like that, right? And then divide all this by the hours it really took you. So, because a 1 hour massage when I go to your house to give you a 1 hour massage does not take me 1 hour. It takes me 2 hours. I have to drive to your house. I have to hope you're there. I have to get inside. I have to set up my massage table. I have to massage you. I have to get the check. I have to break down my massage table. I have to put it back in my car and go back to my house. So look at all the hours you put into the business and divide the money that the business actually makes, and it will let you know how much you're making per hour. It is one good way to kind of figure out what your time is worth when you're deciding if you want to raise your prices or not. If you're making $5 an hour, you need to raise your prices, right? That is one thing to do. That's one way to kind of calculate your hourly rate on massage. So when you do set prices at $50 an hour for the massage, go back sometime later, a month later, and figure out what you're really making per hour. Because if it takes me 2 hours to do an hour out call, then I'm really already making only $25 an hour, and that's not even minus expenses. That's not necessarily bad, I'm just saying. That's what it is. The other thing you really have to think about is what will people pay? Right? Like, I mean, I can do all these calculations and stuff like that, but if people won't pay the money, they won't pay the money. And so think about what people will pay. Yes, Ms. Petrie.
If you go too low, though, then you're going to have issues there, too.
Yes.
Because you're not going to have the kind of people that you want to have.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. If you charge, it's fine to have an introductory thing, but if you charge too low, it sometimes devalues your work. Sometimes you actually get worse clients. I agree with all that. I'm not against introductory specials because I want somebody to get in the door and try to convince them they're going to like my massage. But after that, yeah, they really got to pay in. And you be warned, when you do introductory specials, you'll have a lot of people come get an introductory special and never come back again. But you're hoping to catch those who will. Some of the successful ways I've seen students navigate this problem of not wanting to charge too high and price people out of the market and not wanting to charge too low and having people devalue them is to make other statements instead. To say, hey, maybe I only charge $50 an hour for out-call, which is actually a really good deal, but it's a 2-hour minimum. Like, I'm not coming to your house for less than $100. So what they're doing is they're offering a very competitive price in massage, but they're forcing you to buy a decent amount of the product before they come out to see you. And that way they've at least got clients that are shelling out $100 and hopefully a tip on top of that when they go someplace. That is a thought. It's really nice if you can get people into longer massages, especially if you're traveling there. That's a thought. Yes, Ms. Petrie.
Can I charge somebody more if they have stairs?
Yes, you can.
I'm not kidding.
No, I know.
I have hurt myself so many times dragging my table up flights of stairs so I can set up my table to drag this thing down back flights of stairs.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I also, I don't know if this is good or bad, but I also tend to be more available to my better clients and less available to my less good clients. And stairs might make me less available. So it's just, I'm if somebody's very difficult to work with or whatever, then I'm like, okay, I have this time available and that's it. Whereas if you're a premium client, I tend to be much more open to that. So you're absolutely right. You can manipulate some of that stuff to some degree. And stairs do. Lugging the table around is a pain in the neck. Yeah, I love it when they come to my house. I'm like, please, the table's set up. We walk into a room, we massage you, you leave. It's great. It's really great. But people love to have somebody massage them and roll off the table and go to bed. So, yeah. Bartering is trading, and many massage therapists do it. We've talked about it before in this classroom. Technically, by the way, when you trade product, you're still supposed to exchange taxes on it. Just because you're not using money does not mean that there was not an exchange of services and there's not supposed to be tax on that. But I suspect most people don't because there's no money changing hands. Anyway, just be very clear if you're bartering with anybody, what both sides get and such.
How do they even know if you're bartering or not?
They don't. They don't.
Right.
But I'm just saying, technically speaking, anytime that kind of stuff changes hands, you're supposed to be paying tax on it. But the fact is, you're absolutely right. As one accountant told me, he said, if no money goes into your bank account, essentially no money was made. And he doesn't mean legally speaking. He just meant like, how do we even know you got cash, for example, if the cash never went into a bank account and you spent it on gas or, vegetables or whatever you spend it on. That is very true. But by the way, the minute cash goes into a bank account, you better report it, which is why you want the massage bank account. Yes, Miss Petrie?
It's a nice thing to, that's why it's also nice to work for a company, but have your own side business, because there's still money going into an account saying, no, I work full time.
That's right. Yeah. No, cash paying clients are amazing. They really are. They're amazing. I agree with you. Cancellation and no-show fees are so difficult to deal with. I do think there are times you need to divorce a client very nicely. And those are clients that no-show you a lot or cancel on you a lot. At the bare minimum, I put them in slots that are less desirable and I can handle having the slot canceled. Don't put them in the middle of your day if that's going to ruin your whole day when somebody cancels in the middle. Don't give them your premium 7 o'clock at night slot if they cancel all the time when every one of your clients wants that slot, right? You can do that. You cannot offer them those premium stuff. You can charge them cancellation fees, but it's tricky to get them from people. One of the ways to get cancellation fees is to charge people a booking fee. So when you become very busy, you can charge people $25 to book, and they're going to have to pay another $25 or $50 when they get the massage. But the fact is, that's a booking fee and it's non-refundable if they no-show on you, and it really, really cuts down no-shows. But that's because you collected the money up front. Yes, Miss Hunter.
You can only charge a booking fee once you start getting busy?
Oh, sorry. You can charge it anytime you want. You can charge it anytime you want. I just, in the beginning, sometimes you need clients, and all these rules just kind of get in the way of them. And so I was more permissive when I was a new therapist, in the sense of permissive about, like, let's just get you on the books. And like, I don't have the power to push anybody away. I needed every client I could get. And that's why I said that. But you could start from day one. You could start booking fee from day one. And by the way, I highly encourage you guys to look into online booking programs. They're amazing. So you can have a website now that you put your schedule into, and it will book you. I have to, as a client, go on there, and I could already swipe my card online, already pay for the appointment, or already put a booking fee in there. You can have that all spelled out on the website that says, hey, if you cancel, you don't get this booking fee back, all that kind of stuff. And they're smart programs. So the program actually knows if it books a 2-hour that you're only available down at this slot, and you can mark yourself out of the program and all sorts of stuff. Like, it handles all that kind of stuff. And a very good friend of mine worked very hard, she said, at training her clients to use that instead of calling her. And so she just would not answer her phone and direct people to the website to make sure they really got it, to not call her, because part of what she didn't like about massage was on her days off she was booking appointments. And so booking programs can be very neat. And if you have other people working for you down the road, you just put them in the booking program, and then they can, get a massage from Henry too. And they can pick their client and all that kind of stuff. They're very cool. And you can put cancellation fees in there and have them pay to book. We do it here for our clinic. They pay before they ever come in for their massage. But our massages are so cheap that we're like, you have to pay. And we're terrible here, by the way. They get a $10 massage, but they can't reschedule. Like, we don't, because we don't have time to monitor it. So they bought that time. They can send somebody else in their place, but we won't change the appointment or anything. That's a very strict booking policy. So they have a death in the family, we got their money. It doesn't matter. We're like, it does not matter. You're buying this time because you're buying such a good deal. And you could take that approach too. Yes, Miss Monreal.
Did you ever find that working with other therapists, was there like any cattiness or weirdness over clients?
No, never. Therapists are always of the highest moral character and pretty close to perfection, actually. I've found. Yeah, there's loads of cattiness. Oh my God. Yeah, there's all sorts of, like salon-like drama and all sorts of stuff. And some therapists are super sweet and just don't care. Other ones get really pissed off that you stole their client. But it's like, the cool thing is, You don't steal clients. Clients pick their therapists. And if you didn't show up that day, Miss Monreal, and I happen to get your client, now they like me better, so sorry. Yeah, you can't even give them back if you want to, because the clients decided they like somebody new. Miss Petrie, are you aware of any cattiness or anything?
Oh, no, cattiness. Are you kidding me? Come on.
Yeah.
So, what I was going to say, though, is that that's the nice thing, is that therapists tend to start becoming lazy over time. They want to give up on their clients. They're just like, pass it on. I don't feel like doing it. Grab it, grab it, grab it. Grab whatever you're able to, because now that's your client. Because now they like you so much more than what they were already getting. They're like, oh, that's different. Oh, I like that move there. Oh, that I haven't had that before.
Yep.
And now you just gained a new client for yourself.
Yep. She's 100% right. That also, if you started a new place, you want to be there like, if they call you and say, hey, so-and-so didn't show up to work today, can you come in? And, you're new, so you don't have any business. Yes, you can come in. You come in, and you'll probably pick up half those clients that you're working on. They'll be like, oh, I really like you, and so cancels all the time, and when do you work? Oh, well, I work these other days. You'll be full in no time. That's what, you definitely want to pick up other people's leftovers. It makes a big difference. I agree completely. Well said. But anyway, there is some drama. There's also a lot of cool therapists too. I have often stolen a client from somebody, not stolen, I just worked on them, they liked me. And some of the therapists like, well, I'd rather them with somebody they like. Like, it's no fun working on somebody who doesn't want to be with you. So they just kind of accept it that that's the way it is. But yes, I've seen really petty stuff. We had a gal at the Princess who we think slashed somebody's tires over this stuff too. Yeah. Of course, oh, never mind. It's a long story.
It wasn't me.
No.
It wasn't me.
No. This gal got arrested for blackmailing a client. Like, she was bad news. Bad news. Not at the Princess. She wasn't at the Princess when she did that, but bad news. Like, she was on Channel 12 News, which gives massage therapists a bad name. Anyway, so yes, Miss Monreal.
Sorry, but what could she possibly be blackmailing a client for?
Oh, she was having sex with him, and he was married.
Oh, okay.
So
your wife.
She's an idiot. She sent him a text and said, I'm going to blackmail you, or I'm going to tell your wife. And the guy was like, I'm going to tell my wife and go to the cops. And that's what he did. And the cops, it violates so many things. She slept with a client, that violates your massage license. Boom, that's gone right there. And then blackmail is a crime, like a serious crime. So they arrested her. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Don't sleep with your clients and don't blackmail them. Okay. If you run your own business, or if you don't, you will have conflicts with clients occasionally. Try to listen to them empathetically, assuming they're not being a complete jerk. Try to listen to them empathetically. It does a lot. I find that, by the way, if I've made a mistake and I tell people, like, hey, that's my fault, that actually goes better for me. Because don't we appreciate when somebody actually takes ownership for stuff? This day and age, like, a lot of people are just like, no, I wouldn't exactly say it was mine. I think it's better to come off and be like, I did that. If that's true, I did it, I'm sorry, how do we fix this kind of thing? But empathetic listening really, really helps. Quite often find that you can resolve just about anything. Okay, so let's talk about marketing. Marketing is how you speak to the public. And when you leave massage school, there will probably be online marketing things that try to sell you their services and try to, sell you all sorts of stuff that, frankly, in general, you probably don't need. And here's why. We know that for massage therapy, the number one marketing tool is word of mouth. So it's always been the number one marketing tool, by the way, for anything, but particularly for massage therapy. So I'm a male massage therapist. I want a stranger who happens to be a female come take her clothes off and have me rub her. She's never met me. There is no advertisement in the world that's going to make that okay. But Miss Petrie says, oh, I know this guy. He was my massage teacher. He's super nice. He's kind of goofy and funny and weird, but he's so nice, so respectful. I get massages from him too. You're going to love him. Now she will. Referrals are the best. They are the best. Referrals, when you get referral clients, by the way, they genuinely already like you because somebody has told them how much they like you and they are convinced now that they're going to like you. So they're easier clients to get. They also cost you nothing to get. Your other clients are referring them to you, right? You also get a higher quality of client, like, oh, I like this client and now she sent me 3 of her friends. I'll probably like them too. It's very, very useful. And because of this, just don't forget how powerful word of mouth is, positive or negative. Like you really, really, need positive referrals from your clients. And you don't know the client that's going to refer. What'll happen is 10 clients refer nobody to you, and there's that one client that out of the blue over time refers 10 different people to you. And they're super important. Yeah, so it's all about client referral, word of mouth. Oh, and I put here most likely to create a conversion. What we mean by that is you are trying to convert people into regular clients, and referred clients are the most likely to convert. They're the most likely to not only come to you, but to keep coming to you. That's a conversion, and that's what you want. You really just don't want single-time people. You want to convert people to regular clients. That's the goal. I have tried advertising before in massage with some limited success. I used to do Valpaks when I had a home business because they targeted my zip code and I had to offer a really big discount, but I did get clients that way. I got a lot of people though that come through and use the coupon once and I'd never see them again, but occasionally I would catch a client from there and keep that client. So I have had limited success with advertising, very targeted advertising, but still referral was the thing that did it for me. Yes, Miss Hunter.
What are your ideas on Groupon? Everyone is telling me to, when I get my license to be on Groupon. Do you have any ideas on that?
I've never used, I've used Groupon as a consumer, but not as a business owner. And so I don't know, but my fear is that Groupon takes so much of your money.
Yeah, they take 50%, so it's not really for you making money, it's for you to gain clientele.
Right, but they take 50% of a reduced price in your massage already.
Right.
So now you're looking at maybe 25%, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you're right,
Yeah.
you will get clients out of that, but it'll be about 1 out of 20. Because 19 will do what any of us would do. They'll be like $25 massage, hell yeah. And they'll come get it, and they'll be like, it was good, it was really good. And no matter how good you are, they're going to want to go on to the next $25 massage.
I was going to say, I have a feeling they're not going to want to pay you more if they've already got it for $25.
Right.
And then they see a million other massage therapists on Groupon for $25.
That's the problem. Yeah, and don't get me wrong, you will have somebody who's like, I really like you, and I'm willing to pay $50, or I'm willing to, you'll be able to stack them up finally. But you will go through a lot of people like that. I mean, think about, I look at the services that my girlfriend buys on Groupon, and she'll get like laser hair removal, right? She doesn't go back to those places. She looks for a smoking deal. She said she felt bad the last deal she got. She thought they were going to go out of business. And she uses it all up, and then she never goes back to that place, and she doesn't even refer anybody to that place. Like, it's not out of spite, it's just, and then she goes and looks for the next, that kind of deal, because those are, at least massage, I guess you can argue you need to keep doing it, but that's a tricky one, yes. Yeah. Miss Monreal, you have...
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. No, you're absolutely right. So I guess, by the way, Miss Hunter, I would consider, if I was going to do that, why not go to Valpak, where you get to at least keep a lot of that money. Like, I pay for a Valpak ad, but it's a set thing that I pay, and then I send them out and offer the discounts. At least I get all the money off the discount instead of half of a discounted price. That's what worries me.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand. Thank you.
The other thing is, I would invest your money. Sorry, Ms. Montreal. I would also consider, why not give those discounts to client referrals? So why not say, hey, Groupon's I'm going to offer what, $30 massages, and I'm going to get $15 out of them because of this Groupon thing. Why not say, hey, Mike, you're my regular client. Anybody you refer to me that gets a massage from me, I'll give you $20 off your next massage. At least that's money that, you're going to a regular client for really good referrals. I don't know. Just a thought. I think you'll come out financially ahead. Yeah. Ms. Montreal.
So with the Groupon thing, even like after, they take their cut, blah, 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 you're left with $25, you still have to pay taxes on that?
Yes. I was trying to think of something funny to say, but yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Legally speaking, if I sell this roll of tape for a quarter at a garage sale, I'm supposed to report that money. And it doesn't matter, it's the discount or anything. No, you have to pay tax on any money you make. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And you're not, the thing that scares me.
So they say.
So
that's how they, so they say.
And the problem with Groupon is, I don't think you're going to get $25, right? Because what's the massage that's going to get somebody through the door? It's got to be a cheap massage, and then you get half the cheap massage. So, because on Groupon, I'm looking for deals. Yes. Yeah. Anyway. Let's see. Oh, I just thought this was interesting. 60% of massage clients are female, and they earn over $50,000 a year. And they're usually college educated. That is your typical client. Yeah. Business professionals. Nurses. Huge massage clients. Huge. They make the money. They believe in it. They need it. Boom. Huge. But they fit that demographic exactly. They're college educated. They make over $50,000. They're women. Yeah. If you do make a business, you should create a business mission statement, which is usually where you see the business heading. That's a vision statement too. But what I want you guys to think about is what's your own personal mission and vision statement? Like for your life, you don't have to answer me, but what is the thing that you stand? What is your brand? What do you stand for? It might be your family, and that means your massage business needs to support that vision. I want a business that supports my family. Just think about that, and remember that whether you start your own business or you just go to a couple of houses and do some massage, like you are your own brand. So, and people will identify certain characteristics with you. So be careful. Do you want your characteristics to usually be like, oh, that's the friendly massage therapist who does great work or something. Not, that's the grumpy massage therapist who cancels sometimes on me. You don't want that to be your brand. Business cards. I think you should all get business cards. I know it's kind of nutty. On this day and age, people are like, do we still need business cards? Yes, you do. They're super cheap. $10, $20 for 1,000 of them. Super cheap. I don't think it matters what they say. I think it should say, Michael Tapscott, massage therapist, call me now. And have my number. Something basic, but you want something you can give people. They often are people's first kind of impression of you. It's just, they're very handy. And you want them cheap because you want to give them out all the time. All the time. And once you get business cards, carry them everywhere with you. everywhere, especially to parties and things like that, where you're like, why would I carry my business cards to there? Because you're going to meet people and they're going to say, do you have a business card? Always have your business cards with you. Always. You'll be surprised. Totally surprised. Oh, this is not important. Professional profiles. You might also want to think about getting a website, just because they're cheap too, really cheap, and they're a great way for people to locate you. Between the business cards and the website, you're pretty set. It's very helpful if when I search you, I can pull up your website and it's at least got contact information on it. Might just have a picture of you, rubbing somebody, contact information, a couple of client testimonials, you know. So there is something called digital citizenship, which is the ethical use of technology. So be extremely careful now that you're becoming massage therapists, that the stuff that you put out in the digital world is acceptable for people to see. You know, ask yourself, how would I feel if my mother saw this post? How would I feel? That's the one I always ask, because my mother does see some of my posts. So I'm like, how would I feel about this? If you look at my posts on my Facebook, they're always like food or me dancing somewhere or something very actually benign if you think about it. And Miss Petrie will tell you, hopefully very little, but she'll tell you that I have a whole other side to me. But I don't post the whole other side. I don't post pictures of me doing a beer bong and flipping off backwards on off my roof into the pool. For one thing, I would never do that, and I don't have a pool. But the point is, if I did, I wouldn't post it. So just keep some of your life private. Really, really, really do. Super important. When I have been in a hiring position, one of the first things I do is search social media for that person. So one of the first things I do, because it gives me inside information what this person's really like. And you'd be shocked the stuff, that people post. And the email addresses they have, by the way, too. Yes, Miss Petrie.
What if you don't have a social media account?
I think you're fine. I think that's good. I don't think it hurts you.
Does that make you like the creepy weirdo?
No.
Okay.
No.
I was just wondering, because I don't know how I would feel if I'd be like, I can't find anything on this person. Do I really want them in my home?
Oh, I got that, but I still think you're better. I think it's better off having nothing than the wrong stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, and as an employer, at least it lets me know, like, oh, this person's discerning. Like, this person's discerning. They don't have a digital footprint out there that we can easily look up. That's kind of good. They're kind of smart. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's why the referral thing, too, Ms. Petrie, like, most people aren't going to come to your home unless they got referred by a client anyway. And that's the ones you want. Yes, Ms. Monreal.
Miss Petrie, do you think I'm a creepy weirdo?
Yes, we do. I'll answer that. We think you're a very creepy weirdo. But Ms. Monreal, that's...
I answer that.
I was not on social media until I think maybe about a year or so ago.
Yeah.
My friends forced me to do Facebook.
Forced
or I don't
you.
even know if that's the correct terminology or whatever. But yeah, so if someone's not on Facebook or anything, I guess I would tend to think they're not a weirdo. I hope I'm not a weirdo.
You are a weirdo, Ms. Monreal. How many times do we have to tell you?
I'm just curious if clients would think that way. Well, I remember when I first started getting into my relationship with my boyfriend, who I'm with now, but I couldn't find him on social media anywhere. And I kind of thought, should I be concerned?
Yeah. Well, by the way, now, Ms. Petrie, I am concerned about people that don't have history on a personal note. Not Facebook.
Right.
But I'm concerned with people where I'm just like, you never mention your family, we don't know where you live, we don't know. Like, people need to have history. But anyway, I don't think the social media thing is going to hurt you. I think not having it probably helps you in the long run.
Okay. I mean, I have an Instagram. I just don't really post anything on it, really.
By the way, you guys can you may want to do this too. You may not. I'm not a paranoid person in the slightest, but I have Google alerts set. You can set Google to alert you anytime your name is mentioned anywhere. So I have it set for myself, my girlfriend, and my kids. And if somebody mentions any of our names, not like in a classroom like this right now, but if somebody types it on the internet in China, I get an alert that says your name was mentioned in an article.
What?
Yes, it's super helpful. So like,
How do I find this?
it's super easy. You go on Google and you ask about Google alerts, and it's been so long since I've done it, but I get notices like my son won an award he didn't tell me about. I got a notice, your son won an award. It was in a newspaper article. This thing scans for your name everywhere. Now, usually when my name comes up, there's another Mike Tapscott out there who's a lot more famous than I am. So it's usually him. But it says Mike Tapscott came up, and I go look at the article, and just, you can tell if people are writing something about you you don't want written about you or whatever. And so I have Google alerts for myself and my family. It's kind of cool. And you guys, it doesn't cost you guys anything. It's kind of neat. You'll also find out, by the way, that there's other, like Jennifer Petrie's out there. Miss Torres.
There's actually more than I thought there would ever be.
Yeah. I didn't think there was, I just didn't think about it, another Michael Tapscott, but there is. He's in the newspaper like every month. And so I get notices on him. But I have got notices on myself too. Yes, Miss Torres.
So you are paranoid and now you're gonna make us paranoid because
No, I just feel like it's easy to become informed. I just get an email that says you showed up in this article, and I can click on it and read the article and be like, oh, that's the other Michael Tapscott doing something amazing again. But it's kind of cool too, because I get stuff like on my kids and things like that. If their names pop up on the internet, it's kind of nice to have. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, don't be paranoid. You're right, Ms. Torres. Just ignore me.
well, we can't stalk you no more.
You can still stalk me. This doesn't stop me from being stalked. Yeah.
Oh, okay, but you're gonna know, and that's not the point.
Well, it doesn't tell you if you're being stalked. It tells you if your name is showing up in content on the internet. That's it.
Well, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, if I want to look for you, you're gonna know that I'm looking for you.
It doesn't tell you if somebody's looking for you, though.
No.
No, it tells me if you wrote an article on me, or if you mention me. Yeah. So, yes, that kind of stuff. Yeah. Okay. Some of you might choose to get board certification after you graduate from massage school. There are certain international massage organizations that will do board certification. It's considered a higher level of certification. Some people think it makes them more reputable. It is difficult, by the way. Their testing and stuff is challenging. I'm actually not board certified, so I'm not one to talk. But I just had a student graduate who went ahead and got board certified. And she said it was rough, actually. She said the tests were hard. She took the MBLEX too. She said the board certification was harder in some ways. Anyway, but it's an option. Ms. Torres, did you have more to say, my dear? No? Okay. Yes, Ms. Monreal.
What is the benefit of getting board certified?
I can't think of anything. I mean, notoriety. It's something good to put up on your wall. There can be advantages to being in a large professional organization like that, but that's why I've never done it, Ms. Monreal. I do not see the advantage of it at this point. I really don't. But it is a feather in your cap. It can help you get jobs. The student who did it here is also a substitute teacher here now, and when she applied, she's like, graduated from Gateway, right? Took the MBLEX, board certified in massage therapy, and I'm doing all this other stuff, and it's like, it looks impressive. Yeah, looks a lot more impressive than my resume in that sense, but it's a feather in your cap. That's what it is. Yes, Miss Petrie?
Was she able to do that just from taking your course?
Yes, she was. She passed the MBLEX and the national certification after taking our course, actually while going through our course. The one thing I do want to...
Did she have like prior any knowledge and?
No, she didn't, but she was a very good student. Right? So she was the type of person that, like, all this stuff where I'm like, oh, we're not going to test you again. She made sure to know all that stuff. Like,
Right.
systems of the body, pathologies is big. If you get board certified or take the MBLEX, a lot of stuff that comes up is pathologies. You know.
Doesn't it get you, aren't you able to travel to other places because you're board certified? Like it kind of just is like the foot in? No?
It doesn't give you a traveling massage license if that's what you mean. But board certification can be used instead of the MBLEX in a lot of states to get reciprocity. So you could apply for a license and they'll say you either need to be board certified or take the MBLEX, one of those two things.
Okay.
And so it can work that way. But you don't just get to waltz in the state, you still have to apply for a license there. And that's assuming
Right.
they take the board certification there. Yeah.
Oh, never mind then. Then it's kind of a. So she kind of basically did it just to see if she could do it too. That I'm assuming. That
I don't
she
want to
was
speak
kind of like,
for her. She is one of these people that's really hungry for knowledge. And,
Right.
and she figures, why not be the absolute best, I think. And although
Right.
she doesn't come off that way.
Well,
she-
that's what I would assume if she was doing both. That she just is kind of like, you know what? I really want to see if I can do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And it is kind of cool, this massage profession, right? Because you can just be like a, ordinary massage therapist, just go to work and kind of rub some backs, whatever. But you can also go and get all these other certifications and become this really high paid, kind of really sought out massage therapist too. So you got a lot of choices in between. Mentors and preceptors. If you go to a place, you probably won't have a mentor, although you might want to pick one out. Mentors are people that we tend to model ourselves after. But preceptors are people that are often paired with you when you go work at a company. They'll often pair you with the lead therapist. They're not really meant to be a mentor, but they're meant to kind of show you how to do the schedule and how to get along here and how to work. It's somebody that just helps you kind of learn the ropes. So it's very similar to a mentor, but a preceptor tends to just kind of show you policies and procedures. They've been there 5 years, you've been there 5 minutes. It just makes sense to put you with them. That's a preceptor. Lots of places do it without thinking about it, right? They're like, oh, Miss Petrie, go with Henry. Henry's been here for 10 years. He'll explain how things work here. He's your preceptor. Contracts. We're not going to explain contracts. Just remember, contracts are legally binding for those of you that sign them. Especially with partnerships and things like that. They really lock you into stuff. Ms. Monreal, you have your hand up. Is that a leftover hand?
Leftover.
Leftover, cool. I already told you guys to get a separate bank account. It's the best accounting you can do for simple stuff. You just put all the money you make in there from massage, not from anything else, from massage. And then you pull out your paycheck from there. You actually write yourself and put that in your personal account. Don't pay your bills out of there. The only thing that should be coming out is costs for supplies, costs for gas related, whatever, costs for running the business, and your paycheck. And that could change the size of that, but that thing comes out once a month or whatever. Pull some money out. Put it in your other account. Very, very simple. You would not put in your Massage MB or your Elements paycheck in there though, because those already have taxes taken out. Those would just go in your bank account. This is for your self-employment kind of work. Super helpful. Petty cash is not something people use hardly anymore. If you own a business, the way they value a business, which they call equity, it's really the value of a business, is they take all the business's assets and they subtract its liabilities. And its liabilities are its debt and things that it owes. And its assets are things that it owns, equipment, things of that nature. Future business can be considered an asset depending on how you do your balance sheet. You will never probably do a cash flow statement. It reports how cash moves through a company, and you probably will never have a need for that. But you will do P&L statements. You'll hear this all the time. P&L statements, P&L statements, P&L statements. They stand for profit and loss statements. And really what it does is it's kind of a running total of all the money you're making and all the money you're spending, and hopefully at the end there's money left over. It's a very easy way to kind of tell what your business is actually doing. And if you actually do get a location, you might need a business plan, because sometimes banks want to see them for loans and things like that. And you might need a loan if you have to make 6 months of guaranteed payments on some rental someplace or something. This is if you're really opening a massage business, though. Okay. Let's go over a couple other things. I'm not going to tell you how to write a business plan, because honestly I'm really not the best person to tell you how to write a business plan. And I suggest if you're writing a business plan, it's probably because you need somebody to back you financially, and so you better get some help writing that business plan from somebody who's really good at it, because you're trying to get people to cough up money and invest in your business. But let's talk about this instead. Let's talk about the value of a weekly client. There's a reason for this. For the longest time, I charged $50 an hour if you'd come to my house. Charge $100 an hour if I went to your house. And I had a guy that used to come see me, who I loved. He would come weekly. And he'd get a 2-hour massage for $100. I want you to stop thinking about clients in terms of what they're paying you for that massage and start thinking about them in annual terms. A weekly 2-hour massage client like this, who's not paying an exorbitant amount, he's paying $50 an hour, right? You might have clients that pay more than that in this day and age. Meant that he was giving me roughly $5,000 a year. I want you to think about your clients this way, because therapists don't. It's like what Miss Petrie is talking about. They get lazy. They take their clients for granted. And I'm not talking about the client comes to you once a year. To be honest with you, whatever. Although they still carry your reputation and stuff, still treat them well. But if I get 10 of these clients, 10, that's 10 people. 10. That's not very many people. That's my business. That's $50,000 a year. Doing 10 2-hour massages out of my house a week. That is real money. And those 10 people are your life. Each of them is 10% of your income. So be very careful. Think about your clients annually, right? If I see one of these people once a year, then I'm like, well, annually they're worth $100. But if you have weekly clients, they are probably worth $5,000 a pop. Not to mention, who's referring me all my business? My weekly clients. They're the ones that love me. That's why they're coming every week. So they are your VIPs. So when this guy wanted a massage at 9 o'clock at night, and he's perfectly reasonable and he comes all the time, and by the way, that doesn't include his tips, right? Or the fact that this client that I'm talking about, by the way, paid in cash all the time. Cash, tips, weekly. And he did nice things like say, hey, it's Christmas, here's an extra $100. Nice guy. That client, when he wants a massage at 9 o'clock at night, he's going to get that time. Because he's a weekly client. They're very valuable. And I've heard therapists be like, oh, whatever. I'm just going to reschedule this one this week or whatever. Don't. These people get mad because they know that they're spending $100 a week. That's a lot. It's a lot. And $100, $200 a week, those people are your bread and butter. You got a $200 a week person, that's 10 grand. That person is your business. Yeah. So anyway, don't be late and don't reschedule them. Because they'll be nice to your face, they'll be nice to you, but after you do it a few times, they'll start looking elsewhere. And you're letting five grand with the tips, maybe 6 grand walk out the door. You know, if you're going to their house and you're charging $100 an hour, you're letting 10, 11 grand walk out the door. That is a lot of money to let go. These people, and these people, by the way, that can afford weekly massage tend to be recession proof. They're loaded. So it doesn't matter. The economy tips down. People are like, I'm out of work. And you're like, my client keeps coming, keeps paying me cash. 10 grand coming in the door. So this is my plea to all of you, because I've watched other therapists do it. I've watched really good therapists actually burn their clients, you know, and I've heard their clients tell me personally, like, yeah, I really liked her, but she just always seemed to be rescheduling. It was always some excuse, and finally I just got tired of it because I really look forward to my Thursday night massage, whatever it was. They really do. They look forward to it. And they can afford to go elsewhere, right? So that's your VIPs. The number one reason that therapists get fired from their job, these are TAPSCOT things, but for being late. Always. It's the easiest thing to fire you for, too. If you have a bad attitude, it's very hard for me to fire you, because what happens is I come to you and say you have a bad attitude, and you say, well, you're singling me out, you're picking on me. And now we've got this huge HR dispute. It's a pain, right? Miss Petrie's laughing because she knows I've probably dealt with this 1,000 times. But if you're late, you're late. And if you've been late 3 times in a row and I had to reschedule your clients, that's grounds for firing you. And guess what? If you got a bad attitude too, bonus. But I'm not going to tell you you have a bad attitude. I'm going to fire you for being late. Yeah. So, and employers hate late therapists because they don't have another therapist sitting around. Right? Right? And then Miss Hanson's late once again, and I say, well, I'll work on you. I'm a professional. And they're like, no, I really want to Miss Hanson. Like, she's, like, that's who I like. That's
She's
their
late
thing.
all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
All the time. But they really wanted Miss Hanson, and there's no substitute for Miss Hanson. And so the employer gets mad because even if they can find a therapist, that's not the therapist the person wanted. So how do they compensate them for that? They usually have to discount their massage. So now Miss Hanson has cost me money. I don't know if you've ever been late. Have you ever been late to this class even? Miss Hanson? I don't think so. You've had perfect attendance. Yeah. Perfect attendance, yeah. Generally, if I'm making fun of you, by the way, in this class, I hope you've noticed I picked the thing that is completely not true about you so that I can make fun of you.
She's never been late to lab either.
No. She's perfect. Yeah.
You're awesome, Miss Hanson.
Yeah, you're kind of awesome. You really are. Thank you, by the way. Thank you for setting a good example for all of us. So, questions, comments, thoughts? Ms. Harper, did you have any questions? Because we were talking briefly about business the other day, and I said save it for class.
I think it's just, I don't know. I'm still thinking about it if I need to have experience more or something like that, or before I can work on something like I can do my own, something like that.
Well, I actually advise you do go out and work for some place. You can always quit, right? You're out nothing. Sometimes you find out you just like it. You're like, actually, it's kind of nice, and when I leave. Like, it's kind of nice. Mm-hmm. But the other thing is you can see how they run their business, and even if they run their business horribly, that's a good lesson, too. You can be like, oh, my gosh, I can see what happens when you don't train people right, when you don't treat people right, when you don't want... Like, you'll learn a lot. Mm-hmm. And yes, it's kind of common sense stuff, but you'll learn it in a way where you really experienced it, where you saw the look on the client's face, when you see how they do their sales pitch, when you see why they rebook the way they do, and you'll learn stuff to do better too. But I think it's worth it for that. I really do. I really do. Yeah. So, yes. I've often thought, for example, I'm not going to do this, I don't think, but I've often thought of opening my own massage school. The reason I don't want to do it is because Gateway is actually really good to me, and I like Gateway, and it's easier for me here. But you better believe I would have worked for this place first before opening a massage school, because I've learned so much money. I'm so much on their money, right? When I make a mistake here, it's not my mistake, it's Gateway's mistake. So they're training me to run a massage school, whether they know it or not. Now, I may never use that training, but that's my point, is learn on somebody else's dime. While you're getting paid to do massages, you're learning how to run a massage business. Yeah. And then you can slowly start your own little business. You know? There are people that will split studio rentals with you guys out there. By the way, I talk to them all the time. And so they're not using their studio 2 days a week, and they'd love to rent out those 2 days to another therapist, so they don't have to pay all the rent. Yes, Ms. Torres?
I have told my classmates that about it, and yes, I personally do recommend you guys to start working somewhere, like in a place, instead of going on your own. And I mean, you guys could do whatever, but like you guys will, like, it's crazy the things that you learn and all that problems you guys could save. Because I know I have friends that are doing it on their, or they were doing it on their own, like the first thing after, like, after graduating instead of working. So you learn a lot, like he said. So I think you guys should.
Yeah, I don't think it hurts you, I'll tell you that.
And
Yep. What, Ms. Torres?
yeah, it won't hurt you, and if it won't hurt you, and if you don't like it, then you could just do your own place instead of spending all this money on like a place or renting a place, buying all the equipment.
Yeah. And that's the other thing is,
using it, because I noticed that happens a lot with people that just go straight out of school.
yeah, the people I see going to business straight out of schools, I mean, sometimes they're ready. Like, they're entrepreneurs, they're ready, that's what they're doing, whatever, that's great. But sometimes they're like, I don't want to work for somebody. And it's like, well, then you probably shouldn't run a business either, because it's actually harder to run a business. The other nice thing about working for somebody is you get an idea of what style of business do you want. Like, do you want to run a 15-room day spa, or did you want to run like a 3-room wellness center? Like, these are very different concepts, and you can get a feel for like the value of size and things like that aren't good or bad business decisions. They're just decisions. And so working for another place kind of helps you decide what flavor of ice cream you want to offer, right? And so I agree with Ms. Torres. I think it's very helpful. I really do.